Welcome to the Player's Perspective. Today we're going to be taking a look at the first Crash Bandicoot remake from the Sane Trilogy. Crash Bandicoot was originally released in 1996 on the PlayStation 1, but in 2017 the entire trilogy had a complete remaster from the ground up. Most gamers out there are very familiar with Crash Bandicoot, especially those that had a PlayStation 1 or 2. So when the Insane Trilogy was announced, there was a lot of anticipation for it, especially those who played Crash during their childhood on the PlayStation 1. So as a recap, the story begins with Crash being one of Dr. Neo Cortex's experiments, but is rejected by the Evolver Ray and escapes. But in the midst of the escape, Crash's girlfriend is left behind, therefore his adventure is a mission to rescue his girlfriend from Dr. Neo Cortex. Straight away in the game you can notice the visual upgrades. Bear in mind the original game is 1996, so back then it did look good and it still holds up quite well now, but when you compare it to the Insane Trilogy, you really can see how far graphics have come in games. And realistically you are playing the same game as back in 1996, but people do want to play it on next generation consoles with upgraded graphics, as Crash Bandicoot is a timeless classic. The first game has you travelling across the 3 Wumpa Islands, not like the other games where you'd be going from warp room to enter different levels. Making your way across the 3 islands until you finally reach Dr. Neo Cortex's castle. Making your way through all different areas such as jungles, lost temples, and then making your way to Dr. Neo Cortex's island, which has more of an industrial look to it. As you make your way through the game, you'll notice that the levels get harder and harder, especially when you reach the 3rd island, with some levels that can really try the player's patience. The one level that always stands out to me is Slippery Climb. Even now, I still say this is the hardest level throughout the entire Crash Bandicoot game, especially since to achieve the gem in this level, you have to complete the entire level and smash every single box without dying once. With the level not being easy at all and including 2 additional bonus levels. And by the end of it, you get sick of hearing this noise. Whoa! Make sure not to start this level until you have built up a serious amount of lives to take with you, as just like me, you will lose a good number of them. And the level is over. I did not die, but yes, I missed 1 box. Which is annoying because it means that I have to return to the level. In my personal opinion, the first Crash Bandicoot has always been the hardest out of the trilogy. As in the later games, Crash was given a lot more abilities, being able to skid along the floor, double jump and even sprint. But with this one being the first in the series, Crash can literally just run, jump and spin boxes. But to be fair, we have to remember that this game was the first one out of the entire series, meaning that they were going to add more and more as they made more games. But this one still did bring in Crash's best friend, his mask and protector, Aku Aku.
What have I got?
Who would be classed as additional health for Crash, where if you collect him and you get hit, you would lose him, you collect 2, he'll become gold, and if you get 3, then you become invincible for a short amount of time. And of course, no game will be complete without boss battles, as throughout the game you'll find yourself facing different ones as you make your way across the islands. Each with their own unique style to try and defeat Crash, but it's up to the player to find the weak spot of the boss during the battle. Again, like the normal levels, some of these bosses are harder than others, starting off with them being quite simple and gradually getting harder throughout the game. But once you figure out how to defeat them, they're really not that difficult. With some of the bosses just being inhabitants of the islands, and other ones being Cortex's experiments, right through to Cortex's right hand man, Dr. Embryo, and then Cortex himself. In my personal opinion, Brio was by far the hardest boss, due to the fact that he had a transformation and regained his health over again. But still, I quite enjoyed all the bosses overall. But again, if you played this as a child, and you know Crash Bandicoot quite well, then you could make your way through the game quite easily. Even though it's supposed to be the final boss, I didn't really find the Dr. Neocortex fight that difficult either. Which for a final boss is a little bit disappointing. But yeah, it is still fun to play. Defeating him by dodging his bullets but hitting his green ones into the air and then knocking him out of the sky. A lot of old school games used to have bonus levels quite often, but Crash Bandicoot introduced it in a different way by making the player collect 3 tokens throughout each level so that they could actually access the bonus level. Which is just a little section for the player really to build up some lives, but the boxes in the bonus levels do count towards the overall score. With Crash's girlfriend being at the end of each one, but for some reason he's letting Cortex steal her every single time. But throughout the game there is more than one type of bonus level, with there being a small number of Nitrous Bria levels, which are a lot harder than the normal bonus levels. Again, having to collect the 3 tokens for each one. But the hardest ones being the Dr. Neocortex bonus levels, which there is only 2 throughout the entire game, which at the end of it you will collect a key which opens additional levels. But these bonus levels alone are a lot more difficult than the others. If you manage to smash every single box in a single level, you'll receive a gem at the end. But it is not so straightforward to hit every single box throughout the level, as some levels you'll need to go back to once you've unlocked special gems, each being a different colour, which will unlock areas that you couldn't access before. To unlock the coloured gems though, the game doesn't make it easy, having special requirements throughout certain levels. But without the gems, you won't be able to see the actual ending to the game. Which then leads on to Crash Bandicoot 2. And without them all, you won't be able to reach the end, as each gem you collect forms the path in the Great Hall level. Allowing you to see Crash and his girlfriend escape the castle on a giant bird. But the Sane Trilogy did have some additional features to the first Crash Bandicoot game, such as the time relics, which originally were only introduced in Crash Bandicoot 3, which I thought added some good replay value, allowing the player to race through each level to try and earn relics, either a platinum, gold or sapphire. But unlike Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3 in the Sane Trilogy, in the first game they didn't add the sprint ability, meaning that the player must race to the end of the level the old school way. Out of the 3, I would say that the first game was definitely the most difficult to try and earn relics, not having the additional abilities that Crash has in number 2 and 3. But like I said previously, it does add some good replay value to the game, allowing the player to show off the skills running through the old school levels as fast as they can. I do have additional relic content on my channel, so do feel free to check those out, with a few guides on how to get platinum relics on certain levels. Another feature that was added into the Sane Trilogy was being able to play as Crash's sister Coco at any time during all 3 games, which didn't really make a difference to the overall game, but still it's an added feature that they've put in. So yeah, as an old school Crash Bandicoot fan, I did really enjoy playing the first game through the Sane Trilogy remake, playing some of these levels which hold a lot of childhood memories to me in updated next generation graphics, but not changing the overall game. I really hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it, with plenty more content on the way. Thank you very much for watching. This is Johnny from the Player's Perspective. Please feel free to like and subscribe if you'd enjoyed today's video, and feel free to leave any games in the comments you'd like to see me cover in future content. So until next time, it's goodbye and thank you very much for watching.